So yeah, welcome to, this is my flat, which is near Worthing Watersports shop. We're here with Simon and Jenna, who are well-known windsurfers, and I'm proud to say that they are both part of the Worthing Watersports team, which is really cool. As we're obviously a duotone specialist store, you guys are obviously well fitted to be on the team, but you've obviously recently just gone to South Africa and wanted to do a bit of a question and answer interview thing to find out a bit about the trip, because it's obviously a very interesting place and you've obviously done very well, which we'll get onto. So want to kind of, in case there's some people that don't know who you are, but most people probably recognise you.
This is Maisie.
And how old is Maisie?
She's 7.
And what kind of dog is she?
She's a cockapoo.
Cute. She's very quiet. What are both your sale numbers?
GBR 67.
And GBR 96.
96. How heavy are you?
I don't actually know at the moment. I went out there about 107 kilos.
Yeah.
I think maybe now about 104. I've lost a bit of weight.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I went out there at 75 and I think I've lost a bit as well, so...
Yeah. Just from the exercise, being on the water every day.
Yeah.
Exercise.
Sweating.
I was actually quite ill out there for a couple of days as well.
Right, yeah.
Definitely lost some weight then.
Yeah.
And like you're so busy during the day that actually, kind of that midday where you'd want to have lunch is when everything's happening, it's windy, so actually like consistent meals is a bit of a struggle, and there's lots of, you're trying to snack as much as you can, but you're not having those same big meals as you would like on a normal day.
I definitely wasn't eating properly during the day, like drinking lots, but actually getting a
full meal,
getting a meal in at lunchtime just was not happening.
Just bulk it all in at the end of the day.
Exactly.
I was having my lunch at about 4 o'clock and my dinner at about 5:30.
Yeah. And did you, on purpose, everyone always jokes about when they're going to do a speed event that they're going to eat loads of pies beforehand. Did you on purposely eat a lot before you went to try and put on weight?
I ate anything and everything that I fancied.
Yes. Quite good, isn't it? Promotion?
Yeah, I ate as much as I could.
Yeah.
I did suspect I might lose some weight out there, but and then like Jen said.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for me, nothing in particular really. Like just
Stay fit. Yeah.
Yeah. It was all very busy in the lead up, so actually annoyingly, kind of exercise regime went down and stuff. So that might have helped, I guess. In the weight gaining area, that might have helped. It probably didn't help in terms of keeping fitness up, but.
Yeah.
We did take creatine supplements as well.
It's like
helps.
Water. It gives you more water.
That helps gain a tiny bit of weight, and it gives you quite good energy as well, actually. Certainly does me.
Yeah. And then I guess whilst talking about weight, how much extra weight did you put on whilst you were there? Like as in, you wear lead, and you had to fly out with lead. We were talking about how you were going to fly the lead out there. Was that okay? And how much did you take with you, and how much did you need?
Didn't actually weigh it all, but we took everything that we had weighed out already. We took about 16 kilos
of lead
out there.
And then did you take turns wearing that? Or did you have more?
Because I'm already very heavy.
Yeah.
Like people want to get to sort of like 100 kilos, 105 kilos. I'm already that, so I didn't wear much. The most I ever wore out there was about 4, maybe 5 kilos.
Yeah.
On the really, really windy days, on the lighter wind days, I didn't wear anything.
Right. Is it not power to weight ratio? So like you're used to sailing at that weight, would you not always want more weight? Because you must still get lifted if you're on your weight limit of your sail size and...
You do. The weight, I think the weight is it's for stability in the gusts. It's also to help you carry on your speed through the lulls. Yeah, carry on your momentum through the lulls.
That's really interesting.
But too much.
Yeah, the trouble is the start box is really shallow, like this deep.
Yeah. So
it's fractionally deeper than the fins.
Yeah.
So if you weigh too much, the boards have got, I don't know how much volume the boards have got, like 40.
40, 45.
Jenna, so yours got 40 to 45 litres and mine had like 45 to 50 litres.
Yeah.
They sink really quickly.
Yeah.
So if you mess up your jump start and you've got, well, if I had 8 kilos of lead on and I was like 115 kilos.
Yeah.
The start is really difficult and the start's really important, and if you don't get the start right...
Yeah. Are you on different literage boards? Because normally like wave sailing, whatever, you'd be on 10 litres below your body weight or whatever, or the same as body weight, but speed boards, they do come in different sizes. The new duotone comes out in like 4 different sizes. Is that to do with your body weight, or is that? I thought it was more conditions.
The same as wave sailing, you know, a light wind board
Right.
for a light person would be the same as a strong wind board, the same volume size as a strong wind board for a heavier person. So there's that same like overlap in speed sailing as there is.
So you were on different literage boards because your body weights are different.
The reason I don't know the literage is because it's all about the width.
Right.
So I like literally I don't actually know the literage of any of the boards. I use 3 different boards out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know the literage of any of them. I know they're somewhere between 45.
So the 45, which is the biggest, that's 56 litres.
Right.
So, but 45 centimetres wide, and then so the narrower boards are going to be a lot less.
So what's the minimum wind you would use that board in if it's only 50 something litres?
So that's what I'm using here at Diaz.
Yeah.
I used it with a 5.8. I'm going to say 35 knots.
I'd say we used it in even less out there, really.
Maybe
30 to 35 knots, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Maybe even less in the lulls, to be honest with you. 25 to 35 knots, like.
But still, like on those light wind days, you couldn't get going in it. You'd have to wait till the gust to get going. Once you're up, you're okay, but you definitely need to be powered up enough to get going.
Getting these photos was difficult, basically, because trying to get going at the same time, you can see we're in like a pretty big gust there, but there were times where like Jen could get going and I just couldn't get going because I was well underpowered, basically, sort of thing. But then you get a gust and there's plenty of power, sort of thing.
Gone.
So
yeah. It seems to be clipping some of it. Cool, we've slightly gone off track, but it was normal. How tall are you, both? Because some people like really worry about leverage and stuff.
I don't know what I have in centimetres.
You're well over 6 foot, aren't you? Like
6'2".
6'2".
6'2".
Yeah.
I don't know what I have in Imperial. I'm 1 metre 75. 74.
I think I'm 189. Is that right?
Yeah. I think I'm 180 and you're.
I think 189.
taller than me. Yeah.
Leverage.
Leverage? Yeah. How long have you been windsurfing?
I guess getting on 15 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. I think. Yeah. The level you're at, I don't think it's that. I mean, I've been going 20 years.
Yeah. Feels like a long time.
Yeah.
I've been windsurfing for 35 years.
Yeah.
I had a break.
Yeah, that's very true. Who were your idols when you started getting into windsurfing and like watching videos and magazines and stuff? It might be the people you're sailing with now, maybe.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
That's quite cool.
There's a couple of idols that I had as a kid. So I watched the RYA videos.
Right.
And Nick Baker was on them. A young Nick Baker was on them.
Yeah.
So him a bit, but then obviously Bjorn Dunkerbeck was a huge.
Yeah.
Was a huge idol, yeah.
Massive.
And he was in Luderitz, and yeah.
Yeah. And how old is Bjorn now?
He's 53, I think.
Yeah.
53.
To be fair, when I first started windsurfing, it was all just about being on the water.
Yeah.
Kind of actually the media, the online side of it, I didn't really have me. It was more about doing it, and it's kind of still is the case.
Yeah.
I'm much more of a do the sport person rather than like a, watching sport. So
You had
being surrounded by my family. And, yeah.
Who was your dad?
Yeah. It is.
That's quite wholesome though, because I was going to ask how you got into it. I assume it's your family did it before you.
Yeah.
And then
Both
you got
my
into
parents were windsurfing instructors.
I guess for me it might have been the same. Your parents didn't windsurf. Did your dad windsurf?
Yeah.
Oh,
My dad was in the army. We moved to Cyprus.
Yeah.
And everybody just windsurfed every day. I don't know what he did in the army wise, but he windsurfed a lot, and so did we. That's where it started.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I think for me it was more like the videos, and my dad and my family didn't windsurf at all. The PWA, they had those yearly annual videos that came out, and then you just get so inspired by stuff
when
like
they're
that.
on Sky Sports.
They were like DVDs back then, like the boards. Was it called Boardseeker?
Yeah, Boardseeker.
And then Alfie Hart used to make those
Adrian
annuals.
Jones,
And I loved them. They were really good because you'd see highlights of every event, and so you'd done well throughout the whole year because each event would be broadcast, and there was Supercross and all that stuff. And but I was interested with you, Jenna, because obviously female in windsurfing hasn't been as big as it unfortunately is in a lot of sports, but whether your role model would have been a female or male, just because it's a male-dominated sport, whether you... how did you get into... I think I'm asking this question, there's two questions basically. Did you do course racing, and how did you get into slalom and speed? Because like for me, slalom and then speed is kind of a byproduct of slalom for me, but I also got into slalom because I did course racing before. Was that the same for both of you? Did you do course racing? And
for me it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Started off like my local club, longboard racing on a Tuesday night, and then gradually did local, national, and then international course boarding stuff.
Yeah.
Moved
What
to
course
Formula.
boarding was that? IMCO? No.
Just kind of general, yeah. There wasn't a specific board.
Oh, like
racing.
longboarding.
Yeah, just
yeah.
longboarding, and then did a bit of techno. Then moved to Formula, and then
He did Formula.
went to Formula kind of only for a few years as it was dying, and then kind of didn't really know what to do. So
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
when I
was
stopped
doing
windsurfing. I did course racing as well.
Yeah.
I did some course racing in Cyprus, so like when I was 12, 13,
Yeah.
and then when I was 16-ish, I went to my first RYA youth camp.
Yeah.
Did course racing with like...
What equipment was that? Was that the Aloha? Because there was the Aloha, and then there was IMCO. That's what
Aloha was about then.
It was junior class.
And the IMCA was about then, but no, I was like Fanatic Mega Cat.
Nice.
And North Sales actually, yeah, North Prisma I think. I did course racing with, yeah.
I was using a Fanatic Mega Cat as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
And what were your best results then? When did you race for England and do all that? Was it like that when you were...
Yeah, I didn't do any course. I didn't do any longboard course racing. So not long after I started course racing in the UK, it switched to doing the shortboard course racing.
Oh yeah, because it was like a big slalom-y course racing thing.
Yeah, we used like 285.
You go up wind on like a...
Yeah, you do a course race on a shortboard basically.
That's mental. Your back twisting upwind must have been horrible.
I was never very good at wind unless it was really windy actually. But yeah, so we did course racing on shortboards, and then when the wind, I don't know what the limits were, but the sails weren't that big actually. I think we used like 6.8, I think is what we used, which seems...
It needs to be quite windy, yeah.
Freaking tiny now. I don't know how we ever raced, but yeah, 6.8 was my biggest sail at one point. I think 7 went up to a 7 something, but yeah.
Cool.
And then slalom when it was windier.
Yeah. Need to turn off the lock on this, it keeps locking. Course racing. So if you're not windsurfing, what are you doing? I mean, I think you're pretty much always windsurfing, but do you have other hobbies? Working?
Oh,
do you have jobs?
Yeah. I'm a carpenter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I study.
Yeah. What are you studying?
Maths and computing.
Yeah. Enjoying it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I really like having like something else on the side of windsurfing to kind of use my brain in a different way and kind of almost switch off from the windsurfing a bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, nice. You fly into Cape Town.
Yep.
And then drive all the way up to
literally
here.
that road you can see. You drive all the way up there. So you come out of Cape Town, you go straight.
Yeah.
Go to Springbok, just where you are there. Yeah.
We spent the night in Springbok.
We spent the night in Springbok, the first night.
Yeah. Cool.
And then
you drive from there. You go.
Port Nolla.
So how long does it take to get to Springbok?
6 hours.
6 hours.
Manageable.
Yeah, it's fine because like it's kind of one long straight road.
Yeah.
It sounds really, really boring, but actually like it's just good seeing different stuff, different animals, different.
Yeah.
So it's quite deserty towards the north of South Africa as well.
Yeah.
But there's different
There's a few
types
like
of
national parks. It seems to pop up. Did you stop at any of those?
You drive through them, you can't
Yeah.
help it, sort of thing. So yeah, you sort of driving along, and all of a sudden you're in a national park.
Yeah. Cool.
That's
So then
down,
where
down,
is-
that cloak? Not even going to
Skeleton?
pretend.
No, you've gone too far north.
Bottom screen. Yeah, next to Aus. Yeah, zoom in there.
There it is.
Luderitz.
That's the one.
So I just had a question I hadn't even thought about. Can you just go to Luderitz and just sail there? Do people go windsurfing there recreationally?
There were some kiters out. Saw a load of kiters.
Where the speed canal is,
Which is it here? Looked
Yes.
on Google Map. There you go, speed challenge. With the flamingos.
So if you go into like satellite mode, maybe you'll.
Yeah.
go into satellite. There you go.
Oh, there we go. So there's the trench. But that's not saleable all the time, is it? Because that gets dug out.
It gets dug out every year for the competition. So, like, I don't think it gets filled in, but I think nature takes care of that.
Yeah.
So when we were there,
do you windsurf just
water,
here or not?
Yes, people do.
That's where the kiters.
There
was a load of kiters there.
Something Bay.
Second. So is it Second Lagoon?
Second Lagoon. Or Lagoon 2. Second Lagoon or Lagoon 2 it's called.
Yeah.
And there were some kiters there. And I think originally, the first time they did the Luderitz Beach Challenge, it was actually in that bay, not in the canal.
Right. Yeah.
And I think they did it there twice, possibly.
Yeah.
And then after that, a kiter, I believe, Sebastian Catalan.
Right.
He's like a speed kiter.
Yeah.
After that, they started digging the canal.
Yeah. So how long's the canal been there? Do you know?
I'd say 2013, something like that.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? Someone's put in the effort to do that.
Massive, yeah.
It's a hell of a lot of work.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like it's not a floodplain, but it's like the tide can, the water can come up to the canal.
You've got some photos of it. How do we get to?
For instance, so for like the difficulties they have. So you can see where the water comes up to in the background occasionally.
What, here?
Yeah, it never came up to there whilst we were there.
That's the main ocean, the actual sea.
Well, it comes right up to here actually.
Oh,
It can come right up to there.
Right.
But whilst we were there, it did that one time.
Right.
And I don't know if that was tidal or wind or what. I have no clue why. But most of the time, it wasn't. It wasn't there. It just stayed there.
I thought the tide waits for no man, but maybe the wind is so strong it.
I don't know if it was a spring tide or something. I have no clue. But there was one time when it came right up there.
Yeah.
But so where it's pretty soft sand.
Yeah.
They have all sorts of trouble digging it out. They had excavators, and this year one of the excavators actually sank.
Right, and they pulled it out, so you didn't sail over it?
No, yeah, they got it back out, but as you can imagine, it caused all sorts of... So Rafi, the event organiser,
Yeah.
Poor man, has an awful lot of work to do. So the course actually didn't open. It was a week late opening because the excavator sank.
Yeah.
Getting it back out and stuff, and then they have to dig, with the help of the local workers, dig it out by hand, partly.
Yeah.
Which, digging sand out of water.
So is this the... You see what's upwind of it there? That's the road.
So it's just a big, flat, open thing with valleys. It kind of creates a valley with the mountain or the sand duney things either side.
Yeah, in places the sand's hard. Obviously, you drive on it. It's
Yeah. But then in the photos, there's another spot. You said, is it Diaz Point?
Yeah.
Which is up here?
Yeah, that's the lighthouse you see in the pictures here.
And were you sailing down this bay?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Bay,
it.
yeah.
That's it.
Cool.
And that's like a 10-minute drive from the
From the canal, it's another 10 minutes. Yeah.
So this is Diaz Point, isn't it? I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is it's another.
That's a great spot.
It's another amazing speed spot, basically.
And it's always like a couple of knots more than at the canal.
Like 5-10
knots more.
Not all. Well, they said it was, but there was that one time when we sailed on the canal and they didn't sail up there. But normally I think it's like 5 to 10 knots more at Point Diaz.
Yeah. Don't know
Diaz
why
Point.
it's not playing the whole video. Where are we?
Yeah, it was nice to change it up a bit.
Well, we got there at night, and this is literally the very first day we had there.
Yeah.
So straight away we jumped on. You don't use the same boards as in the canal. Well, I'm sure some people could.
Yeah.
We used the 45 wide boards, which we took especially for going there.
Yeah.
We did use the 45 wides on the canal, but that's not what we took. We didn't think we would.
Yeah. So, how many bags did you take on the flight? Because I thought you're going to a speed event, you only need small boards and small sails compared to a slalom kit, but
so
when you're flying lead...
Well, the lead, we looked into the cost of buying the lead in South Africa,
Yeah, you said,
and it was more than the price of the bag.
Yeah.
So we figured we'd take another bag with lead. We didn't just take a bag full of lead. We actually strapped. So the lead's beaten into little square blocks to fit inside a weight chest.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I was clever or stupid, but I actually strapped them with duct tape to the back of a harness.
Right.
And as soon as I finished doing that, I realised it looked like some sort of suicide bomber jacket.
Right.
But I left it and it was fine. Yeah, it worked. Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
We took six
board bags,
six
and two
board bags.
suitcases.
And 2 suitcases.
But
6 board
we
bags.
did take more boards than we kind of need because we didn't know what we needed. Because it was our first time there, we had like no clue what sizes each of us would need. So we took 6 boards in the end.
1, 2.
Yeah, 6 boards, and then
Five
like the
boards,
biggest
5
tip
boards,
we got given
6.
was like just take so many spares. Didn't really end up needing them, but we took tons of spare masks, spare booths in case, because you see people crash, and once you have a crash at that speed, like everything just gets destroyed. But no, we didn't.
We neither of us used smaller than a 45 wide speedboard before.
Yeah.
The event we had we didn't know what we were going to use, so we took a 37, which is going to be Jenna's high wind board, but turned out to be pretty much her all wind board from Canal. A 39 and a 41
width.
Yeah, that's all the width sort of thing. And
why have you never been able to use them before? Because I was going to ask you about like, other locations, and we were talking about the trench last night that used to be in France, and I know Ben's touched on it, like where they're gonna. It's obviously quite a remote place to be there, but like we go speed sailing. I haven't been there, but West Kirby, and then obviously there's the Ray on the south coast, and I guess a lot of people go to. Is it the Frankie in the south of France?
Yeah.
Can you not use boards that narrow there? Is it just not windy enough or flat enough, or?
I guess I could probably use the board I was using at West Kirby on a good day, but I think it's been more of a case of like, I mean, I'm quite new to speed sailing, and those times that we have been, I've been to West Kirby once, like recently, and we kind of just used what we had, sort of thing, and. A 45 board was already like massively smaller to anything we'd use. So, like, but then knowing that we were going all the way there, we knew that we kind of needed to get something
part of it,
more specialist.
I think part of it is basically so the Frankie you can sail back upwind.
Right.
On a 45 wide board you can sail back upwind.
Yes.
100%. I'm not sailing back upwind on the 39.
Yeah. Okay.
That's never happening. Jenna might be able to sail back upwind on the 39, maybe, possibly. I don't know. Same with West Kirby. You sail back up at West Kirby. You get to the bottom of the course. You kind of walk for about 100 metres or so.
Yeah.
And then you jump on the board and sail the rest back upwind.
Yeah, I would definitely not be able to do that on.
And it's quite hard on the 40. It's quite hard on the 45.
Is that board?
That's that board.
It looks smaller on the photo than it does in real life.
I think it's I think it looks big in the photos.
The rail looks quite big.
Looking at us.
It looks like a slalom board.
The rail looks quite big. Like the height of it's quite.
Yeah. Well, that's what's nice about that board is it does have the volume. So it's narrow, so you reduce that drag for top speed, but it does have more volume that you can use it. Anywhere.
Yeah.
It's that board is like super easy to start. Like,
yeah.
Doing the jump start, like if you get the jump start wrong, and you land on the tail too heavily, the nose goes right up, which obviously is like you flatten straight back down. But if you land on it right, it's off like a rocket.
This you can water start. The speedboards we're using on the Canal, like you can't really water start so much. So I think that's the one reason you wouldn't really want to use those boards anywhere else is because it's too dangerous to not be able to water start, unless it's, it's only going to be so deep.
You probably can, but you would need nuclear winds to do it.
Yeah.
Because I actually started like that a couple of times. Yeah. If you mess up the start, you end up further down, and if you don't want to give up your place in the line, I just stuck my feet in the straps and waited for an absolutely huge gust. I did. I saw someone else doing it, so I did it maybe 2 times. And I hear that Patrick Deaton did it the same way. He sat in the water with 15 kilos of lead, or 25 kilos maybe, of lead on his back, with his feet in the straps, and waited for a gust of like 50 knots. Just picked him up and off he tootled. But it did work for me, to be fair. But you do need a silly gust to make that happen.
Yeah. I like how casually we're just talking about speed sailing, but. When you windsurf this much,
the thing is, people say it, and you kind of don't believe it when you hear it until it's happened. When you have a really quick run, like when you do the
it's
first
such a
time
blur,
you do,
isn't it? Yeah.
I only did 40 knots for the first time about 2 years ago. like because I'd never been to a speed spot. Really. I went to Southend once years ago.
Yeah.
And I think I did 38 or 39 knots.
Yeah.
But then, like, when I did 40 knots the first time, I don't know where it was. Was it West Kirby? Must have been West Kirby, yeah. The first time I did...
Portland, maybe.
Wow,
Yeah, I think it was. The first time I did 40 knots was at Portland, actually, on a 7 metre and a 99 wide board, and it didn't feel that quick.
Yeah.
And certainly the first time I went to West Kirby, I did 47 knots. I thought my watch was wrong when I looked at it.
40 what, sorry?
47 knots. It was
Oh,
only
wow.
a peak, a 2-second peak of 47.3 knots. And when I looked down,
What's the highest someone's done in the UK?
the highest peak,
Yeah. Or average? Like peaks.
You have to look at GPS speed surfing. That's the
Where
place
is
to look.
is West Kirby the fastest spot in the UK?
depends who you ask. There's two spots.
The Ray. The Ray's pretty good because the wind is very solid, isn't it?
Dave White will say the Ray, I think.
Yeah, that's where I did 40 knots at the Ray. Yeah,
Huh?
I've done 40 knots at the Ray.
Yeah, I think.
It's just so flat and the wind is still really consistent.
I don't know who.
Just a long old walk.
The Ray is longer. It's hard to do a 500 metres at West Kirby.
Right.
It's 250 is really good, but 500 metres is quite difficult. Gets choppy at the end.
Yeah.
But people have definitely done 50 knots at the Ray.
Yeah.
At West Kirby.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they have it at the Ray as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's good because like listening to Ben talk about here, obviously it's easier for people to do high speeds, but it's nice to know there are still spots around the country.
100% you can go to West Kirby and whatever speed, if you've not been speed sailing before,
Yeah.
and you're into going fast and you wear a GPS watch, doesn't matter who you are, you'll go 5 knots quicker than you've ever been.
Because it's flat in the wind and yeah.
It's easy.
right angle,
It's got the beach that you follow at West Kirby's got a natural slingshot in already. You don't have to learn to do it.
If you don't, you hit the
wall if you don't do it, sort of thing. So you're like forced into doing this slingshot.
Yeah.
And yeah, 100% you'll go way quicker than you've ever been, like way quicker.
Yeah. It's a good feeling. I found it very addictive. But as soon as the wind dropped, I was like, well, is there any point being on the water? Because I can't go as fast as I did. And then you realise, just go windsurfing, it's fine. But it's hard on speed kit to just free sail. I remember trying to jibe and do slalom jibes, and I was like, this is just... Your feet are so close together. When you switch your feet, it's very weird.
We went to West Kirby... was it this year?
And the sail seems to flick
This
very fast.
summer. We went to West Kirby for a windy day this summer.
Yeah.
And we had, so we went, Jim Crossley was there on the Saturday. It was like really windy, like 50 knots in the morning. I think I used a 5 metre and you used a 4.7 or something. On the 45 wide boards we had a really good speed day. And then we stayed up there and 2 days later we sailed it again in the wrong direction. So instead of sailing down on the starboard tack,
Yeah.
we sailed it on port tack in a southwesterly.
Yeah.
I used a 6.8 and you used a
5.8.
5.8. And slalom boards, we had a cracking day.
Yeah.
It was really, really good fun because we were sailing slalom boards on, like, I mean, the only thing that happened that day was I was annoyed that I didn't go faster because it was so ridiculously flat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought but it was still amazing good fun.
Yeah.
Terrifying people on the path.
Go family page absolutely helped massively. That wouldn't have been possible without it. So
Yeah.
massive thank you to everyone who donated to that. And then very, very last minute, an old sponsor of mine, Holiday Extras.
We did the sale, didn't we, in the shop? So
Yeah, we did.
full graphics on a walk, which is quite cool.
Yeah, so Holiday Extras were a sponsor of mine before COVID happened. They're a travel company, so COVID kind of put that on hold. They've always been super supportive and helped me out how they could since then, but then kind of got back on board for this trip, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
To have them back on board.
Yeah, nice.
That fully loaded up sail did a 500 of 45, was it? 45, maybe even 46.
Did it feel heavier? Did it feel stiffer?
I didn't use it, but
It did, yeah. It felt a lot more
restricted.
Yeah.
But the graphics stayed on.
They did really well, actually.
Yeah. Did that quite good, didn't we? Cool. Had you been to South Africa before?
No, I'd never been south of the equator actually.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I've never been. I mean, I've been to Mauritius, which is an African island, I think.
Yeah.
South Africa. But no, never been to central mainland Africa.
How was the journey? I know you've just come back. You say it was like 20 something hours in total, or?
Well, 3 days travelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we flew.
A yawn.
Sorry.
That'll do.
Flew from London to Istanbul, then Istanbul to Cape Town. Hired a car and hired a truck thing in Cape Town, and then drove. Yeah, across the border into Namibia.
Yeah.
So that was a 12-hour drive up. So yeah, spaced out over 3 days each way.
Yeah.
It was like an amazing trip, honestly.
And how long were you there for in total? Was it like 2 or 3 weeks?
2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks there. Yeah. So we were away a bit over 3 weeks.
Yeah. And you sailed every day?
Pretty much. There were a few days off.
Yeah.
Very, very much needed days off.
Yeah.
We slept the whole day when there was no wind.
It's really broad actually. You can see there the winds. It's like I'm pretty much going down. It looks like dead down wind.
100%. It felt like it at times, especially if it wasn't windy enough, or a lot of the time we were sat there with
I don't think I've seen this
plenty enough wind, but the angle was too broad. And they've got like an anemometer.
Because it's so broad, you need more wind because you've got no power in the back of your hand.
The first day we sailed at Diaz Point, and it was windy and amazing. The second day we were there, we sailed at Diaz Point again. Everyone said the wind forecast was...
God, it's so narrow there.
Yeah.
Apparently it used to be even narrower.
Really?
Yeah, they were saying how big it is now. But definitely didn't feel like it. And when you first got there, it was like...
I think this is
quite light wind. You don't look super stuck.
That's super light wind, yeah. I think this is the first day on the canal. It was like really amazing to get a day with light wind. So the first time I went down the canal, I'm pretty sure, was it my first run or my second? In my first or my second run, I jumped on the board, playing in quite a decent start, went round the corner, fully powered, and as soon as I went round the corner and bore off, I virtually stopped. Yeah. I didn't stop, but I was going so slow that the back of the board was dragging in the water, and I caught my fin on the sand once, twice, three times, and before I had to basically jump off.
Yeah. This is light.
Yeah. This is like
the first few days we were there, like we could have got like much better sessions.
But that's perfect,
Diaz.
isn't it? To have light winds
it's
first.
Exactly what
if it was windy to start with and then light winds, you would have been so annoyed because you need a bit of time to get used to it.
Get comfortable.
So they
so
wouldn't.
Narrow there. I don't think. Yeah.
They wouldn't normally open the canal apparently on days like this, but it literally was amazing
to help. Yeah.
It does look really narrow.
It does look narrow.
A bit wider there, and then.
Yeah.
Do you feel like more confident now you've gone down it? How many times you have?
Yeah, I think we did like...
Obviously the first few runs probably pretty scary.
I think it was something like 130 runs.
See at the bottom of the boxy, there's a road. that road, the first time we came down that road and saw the finish...
God, it's the length that you haven't got. It looks like there's enough space.
When you're coming down at 45 knots, that's not a lot of finishing space at all.
That was my first thought was, oh my God, that is not a lot of space to stop.
Yeah.
It actually isn't that bad. I know some of my stops weren't the best, if I'm honest. So I hurt my nose, but...
oh really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just on the van.
Stopping at 40, 45 knots, like 40 to 45 knots is easy.
Yeah.
Above 45 knots on the smaller board, I found a little bit more tricky.
Yeah.
It can get a little bit choppy down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's too choppy, you can't carve hard enough to start. Like, so the carve really slows you down. So when it was too choppy, you kind of couldn't put the same like grip on the board and.
Just a bit on like technique, which I don't think people really talk about that much. I wanted to ask you at the end, like what you think makes Antoine like, because he is quite a bit quicker than a lot of people. But you're all on windsurfing equipment. You know, it comes down to technique. What do you think is actually making him, and what do you think's made you that fast? Because just from when I was learning to do speed sailing, it was actually, normally when you're free riding, you're putting quite a lot of pressure on the fin, you're trying to generate lift, and that's why I learned how to go fast on slalom, was to use the carbon fin and get it to lift up and fly. But when I was speed sailing and going off the wind, it was actually more taking the pressure off the fin that I found made me go faster, and putting the power through the nose, for me, made me get almost less friction. But is that the same going that broad? And what do you think? I mean, how much faster is Antoine than the next person? What, like a knot or two?
This year it was about Just
It was a
about.
knot.
On
It
average.
was a knot.
On his average.
On his quickest run was a knot faster than Gunnar, who was second quickest this year.
There were days where Gunnar, was in the lead for a while.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But Gunnar as well. There's days when those two were doing like 51, then the other would do 51 and 50 and then 52 and then, so they were doing 50 like a lot.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
But I guess like you're probably thinking about it quite a bit because you obviously want to be as fast as who doesn't want to try and be as fast as the next person. But what do you think, like size wise, you're similar weights?
I think I'm probably a tiny bit heavier than Antoine.
Yeah.
I think we're similar. We're a similar size.
Yeah.
I would say he's probably quite a lot stronger than I am.
And you think strength does come down to it to hold the sail?
No, not necessarily. No. I'd say he's definitely fitter than I am.
And he's been a top racer on the Pettifer for years, right?
His technique is perfect, isn't it? It's good. It's very good.
Stance and then keeping the board right.
His stance is brilliant. He keeps really still. He's really good. I don't know how much lead he uses, but yeah. Same with Gunnar. They're both. So I'd say strength is good for that. Jenna is also like very strong. Really hurts when she hits me. But no, strength. I think is important for holding the sail down. Obviously, you've got the weight as well, but the technique. I think technique is probably more.
And kit tuning, they spent years and years. Everything's transferable from like the slalom. I think.
Yeah.
They've had to tune it, but I think all of that knowledge and
Yeah.
There's so much.
100% kit tuning is super important to know that I don't know, like your windward rails tipping and what you can do to prevent that happening, like moving the mast track back or just knowing the things to move to make things work better, basically.
And again, for me, my understanding from slalom was to try and basically get as minimum amount of water tension from the board, and I do that by bringing up the windward rail. Is that the same for speed, or because you're in a very different angle, are you trying to keep it all flat? Are you trying to keep contact? And are you using fins to give yourself lift, or are you just trying to reduce drag? Like, what is the technique to go that next bit?
Reducing drag, for me, I find like the biggest thing is to get weight in the harness and then
keep the power going through so you don't get lifted.
That consistent weight in the harness also creates lift, and from there, if the kit's set up right, I felt like it would do the flying itself.
Yeah.
There wasn't that, really pulling up on the front leg like you would.
No.
I think probably because it was so broad,
Yes.
The bigger thing in speed sailing is more like keeping the speed up through the lulls and stuff.
I find the narrower the board gets, the harder it. I'm reasonably good at railing a 116 and a 99 and a 90 litre board, but then the speed boards, it becomes kind of, the narrower they get, the harder it is to rail them, and I'm not sure it's the right thing to do.
It becomes more of a back foot.
Yeah.
Where your back foot's quite
keeping
far
it flat.
over.
Yeah.
Where the tail of the board's so narrow, your back foot is over the centre line. So that kind of, I found that railing came more from my back foot than it would slalom sailing. Slalom sailing, I've got more of a push on the back foot.
Yeah.
Whereas it was more of the roll that you'd normally get on your front foot. Slalom sailing, you had that on your back foot. Speed sailing, I found.
Yeah.
I think, and that's where Manfred, the timekeeper, sits with his computers.
Sounds like something from a movie.
There's a picture at the bottom of one of these videos, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. I was trying to
find it. There it is, back. There it is, that little thing there. So I think it's the cabin of a boat. Right, so on there we have a digital display. It tells you the wind strength for the anemometer, and it tells you the wind direction as well.
Yeah.
Like both, it's got like southerly, so the best direction is like, I think it's south-southwest or south. And it's 200, the best degrees wise is 200 to 210. So again, if it's round at 200 so on the light wind days at first, when it was really light, I went round the corner and I think Jenna, you said it went up to 240 or something.
Yeah, and it was too broad. Yeah.
It was so broad and light, I literally just had to step off the board. I couldn't go downwind. So what you're waiting for is like a big gust, and it to be like 205, 208 degrees, something like that.
Yeah. Cool. Where do we get to? So where am I? Yep. How wide is the canal? What's the narrowest? Is it as wide as this room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that, like
I'd say,
5
if you say,
meters?
what's the mast in the sail? Like 4 metres. I'd say it was about, you could definitely catapult, I think, and not hit the bank. I
It
think.
looks narrow there. Is that the corner?
That's the corner, yeah.
I'm going to say 7 or 8
Yeah.
metres wide.
You can see, yeah, if you drop the sail, it's not going to be that far off before it hits, is it?
Yeah, I'd say it was
What's
somewhere
that, 4
between
metre
6,
mast?
6 and 8.
380?
That's the 380 mast, that is, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So
On that picture you can see there as well, Sam.
yeah,
So those red bags,
yeah,
they're all sat on top of a small sandbank wall, which
Yeah.
is like just underneath the water, basically.
The other thing, like, it is, you've got that width,
You can see them there.
but in that further side, it's too shallow. So there's water there, but if you actually sailed on that, it would be too shallow. You'd catapult. So
Yeah.
you do have to stick in that. I'm gonna say 6 metre wide canal. You
Yeah.
can only sail on the windward like 3 metres of it.
it's so cool. How deep is it?
Not deep enough.
Well, look at the start box there, you can see with Jenna, it comes up to her
Shins.
knees nearly.
And there's deeper patches, like, so there, you're stood on the bank and that very start area is a bit deeper. I'm going to say like waist deep, not quite waist deep, mid-thigh deep for that section.
Well, where they dug it with a digger, it's different. It's not like a swimming pool. It ain't just flat.
And it must move and sediment.
Yeah,
moves
it
and
does.
stuff, yeah.
So sand blows in. I found in the start. So where Jen just started from, it is like, because like I said, she stood near the edge, so it gets shallower, and it's like this deep. Like, I don't know, what's that? Like 25, 30 centimetres deep.
Nothing. Yeah.
But then there's after that there's a little bump. Don't know why, but there is a little bump which is shallower. And then after that it's deeper. It goes
Claimed
up to,
many fins.
claimed a few fins. After that it goes a bit deeper to sort of like, I wouldn't say waist, I'd say somewhere between the middle thigh, like
Yeah.
above your knee sort of thing. But then when you get to the corner again, the very first corner, because we did walk the course,
Super shallow.
that first corner, again it's like 30, 40 centimetres deep at max.
I wouldn't have said that much even.
Well, no, there was one day where it was the last day actually.
Well, that is quick.
On the windy days, the wind blows the water from the top of the channel to the bottom and out.
Yeah.
So on the windiest day, there was hardly any water at all.
On the windiest day.
Oh yeah, I know.
It dropped by a good 20 centimetres of
So
wind.
I was saying it's not the tide that fills it. They actually pump it back
They
in.
have to pump it in.
And is it
like,
constantly
pretty
being
much every
pumped
day.
in?
They can only pump at high tide. So they wait until the water's on, that downwind, the water that you can see, it has
Yeah.
to come up high enough that their kind of pump cable reaches.
Yeah.
So they can only pump at high tide. And I think possibly they're not allowed to pump whilst we're doing the record, is that right? They wouldn't want any water flow.
No, I think that one.
Yeah. Cool. And then we talked about a minute ago. It's starboard tack, and you said there seems to be a thing that speed sailing's always done on starboard tack. Why is that? I'm pretty sure I'm faster on port.
It just seems that most
Stuff like
good locations around the world just happen to be starboard tack. Like, just out of coincidence. I
Yeah,
think.
it's a coincidence. I think. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a coincidence. Yeah, I don't know why. That's what I was going to point out. So on this video, where it is right now, so you see she started. She's gone round the corner where the flags are. That black box you can see.
Yeah.
That's got a camera in it.
Yes.
That black box there is the start of the 500 metres, the measured
Yeah.
500 metres.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. So
you saying this camera?
this is that's it. That's the video timing.
So the left-hand side is the start. That one's the finish. So literally, that will be the picture taken from that box on that previous video.
Yeah.
The yellow line is the one that. So I can't explain what all. Is it 4 or 5
Yeah.
lines?
So the green line, behind the green line, on the bank, there's a post in the water.
Right. It doesn't move, obviously.
Yeah, that's lined up with the camera.
So data,
So that's
yeah.
what the green line is showing.
Yeah.
The yellow line is the first frame of you coming into the
And they measure from your head.
front of the head.
Oh yeah, I can see it stop on your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the yellow line is like the first frame, the red line is the second frame, and then the blue line is exactly halfway in between the two.
Right.
So it's kind of from that they take.
Wasn't it something about
fr-
100th of a
from the-
second?
Yeah, so the yellow and the red are like 200ths of a second apart. So the blue line is the kind of 100th of a second, and then from that they kind of.
So if you just lean your head forward right at the end.
Yeah, exactly. So well, it took me 3 days to realise, or even more, that I was stopping way too early. So on that second
You're
on
leant
the
back a little
finish,
bit, looks like.
I'm completely stopping. Like you can see the weight
Well,
keeps
she's-
kicking up.
She's not in a sailing position at the end there.
Yeah, you stood up.
So she started. I think she started
I
the
thought I've gone past.
stopping
and-
process.
yeah.
because the trouble is when you get
you
to
can
the
have to
end,
go back.
there's a massive gust at the end. So when you get to the end, you're not like maintaining a speed. More often than not, you're fucking accelerating at the end.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you get, so there's like a row of flags, and then there's another box like at the start with the other camera in it.
Yeah.
If you sailed through that, it like locked down like she is in the first picture. You've got such a small amount of time to get unhooked and start carving the board, like laying the sail down.
Needs to be a bit longer then maybe, just so you can commit full way through it.
Well,
After seeing the pictures, but it took seeing these finishing pictures to go. Oh, actually, I was stopping too early, and then I managed to sort it out.
Is this the one? Wait,
No.
what was your?
that's a 44.8 knot run there.
What was your peak? Can't remember.
Record was 48.03.
Yeah. That's amazing. Have you seen the photo of the one that was like that? Were you fully committed on the finish on that one?
Yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right, by the end of the week, guys, because that in speed sailing you're all talking about those fractions of a knot.
Yeah, yeah.
And in sport in general, it's all that like small 1%. And
Yeah.
so, that maybe second. I mean, what's this? This is so a 48 knot run is 21.7 seconds. The record was 20 point something, like low 20s.
Yeah.
So that's an extra like pretty much second and a half. If I've wasted half a second by slowing down at the end, that's 2 knots.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
How windy was it in knots when you did your fastest runs?
So for me, I kept actually getting quicker day on day. So the windiest day was sort of one of the middle days, but even on a lighter day, I managed to surpass that again. I'm gonna say the windiest day 55.
And that's how windy it was when I did my fastest run.
55 knots of wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the last day where I broke it again, I'm gonna say that was maybe only 40.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Is that because of the angle of the wind that you still managed to get those speeds?
It's a lot flatter. The less wind, the flatter it is. And I think being too overpowered, you sort of lose some of that control, and the fastest runs are always going to be full control.
There's always talk of the lucky run with speed sailing.
Right.
So the lucky run isn't anything other than it's like you get a gust, and the water's flat, and the angle's right.
Yeah.
And it all just happens it all just falls into place.
That's why you got to do so many runs.
That's the lucky run. Yeah, that's why you got to do so many runs. Yeah. Sometimes you get a big gust and it's almost too big. And it's not that flat.
Yeah.
And your eyeballs get bashed out your skull, and other times you hit a big lull. So you might have an amazing start and you're like, oh, this is the one, and then you get halfway down and it's like you have to sort of stand up off the board because you're losing power, and then that's when the weight's good for you carrying through this lull, but that only goes so far. You can still do a really good run, if you're Antoine Albeau, you're still going to do a 50 knot run maybe, but you're not going to break a record. Whereas for me, I'm still going to do a 44, 46, maybe a 47 knot run, but I need the whole perfect run to get my 49 knot run,
Yeah.
I think my last record run, there had been no, the wind had really dropped. Pretty much no one was sailing at all. I just went for a run anyway, and in that moment, the wind came through. So where there'd been no wind, it had gone super flat.
Yes.
And I just picked it at the right time, completely by fluke, but completely the right time where the wind had just come through, but the chop hadn't had time to build up.
It was a fluke, really.
Complete fluke. So yeah, there was a bit of that as well.
Yeah. So that was that at the exit? You said when you came to stop, you.
Yeah. So that was actually that.
I don't think anyone's really talked about what actually happened.
That was
Did you hit the boot?
That was one of my fastest runs as well. That was one of my fastest runs. I think that was. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was one of my fastest runs. If maybe it was the fastest, I'm not sure. So basically, I laid the sail down.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
So I went through the camera, laid the sail down, and then as I brought the sail back up, I sort of looked up and I realised I was already very close to the bank. And then, like Jenna says, it gets shallow. It's like a beach. It shelves off and gets shallower and shallower.
Yeah.
So so what's possible? So normally you just carve up into wind, and step off or fall backwards because it's really shallow, sort of thing. Like I was using the fall backwards technique quite often. So I laid the sail down. I came up, realised I was close to the bank. I pushed really hard on my back foot to carve harder. The back of the board completely went out, and I just headbutted the boom.
Did you break it? Is that a break?
No, I don't think so. It made a really, well, I thought I did, because it made a very loud cracking noise and it bled a lot.
Yeah.
But no, it's still quite sore, but...
And glasses, that stopped the... Goggles? Is that to stop the sand going in your eyes?
It was, yeah, but it was a bit tricky because...
Can't see.
The water would, if you got any water on them or specifically like in them, so if you like messed up a start...
Yeah.
And fell in, you'd get water on the inside and it wouldn't drain out, and then there was a few times I just whipped them off and threw them, didn't I?
First run, great, and then after that, it becomes a bit more...
Need little windscreen wipers.
I did actually notice Antoine, consummate professional that he frickin' is, after every run, he'd come in and wash his glasses out with fresh water.
Yeah.
After every run. Did I not?
No.
But maybe you could like put like a bit of velvet or something in your wetsuit so you can...
It'd get wet though, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd get wet.
I did notice when he had his GoPro on, he was getting Nemo to get the wipe for him, like.
Can you get like Rain-X?
I did that for you with the GoPro.
Yeah.
Polish it with some Rain-X.
I've tried that. It doesn't always.
Come here, pigs. How fast did you go before you went to Namibia? And how much faster did going there?
So.
You had quite a big jump, didn't you?
For me, yes.
I've got to look it up.
My top 500 before I went was 39.5.
30.
Which went up to 48.5. So 9 knots on the 500. And
9 knots!
yeah, and my 2 second was 42 something. And now it went up to just over 50.
Whilst
so
we're
8
talking
knots
about
on
this,
2
I'd like to
seconds.
point out that previous to going to Namibia, there'd never been a single session that had finished with Jenna being quicker than me. She waited till we got to Namibia.
And the whole world was watching.
Till the entire world was watching before she did it for like 2 or 3 days in a row.
It just spurred you on though.
And normally like consistently between a 9.5 and 2.5 knots behind you.
Yeah.
Like normally, and then just I think I maybe adapted to the new conditions a bit quicker.
Yeah.
You kind of by the end of the week you'd overtaken me again, but I think it took you a few days more to get used to the canal than it did me.
I've decided that for some strange reason I listened to far too many opinions, and I changed my stance.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, my stance was terrible.
Oh really?
Not by the end of it. I was trying to get it back, but halfway through,
It's like golf swings.
it had gotten all out of shape.
You could see it on all the pictures. It's only, it took a few days for people to get sent the pictures maybe, and then it was like.
So what were you changing?
Oh, I'd shortened
Boom
my lines.
heights
I'd shortened my lines by like about 6 inches.
That was one of the things I was going to ask you, because just before you went, you came to the shop and you took, what did you take off me? 22s, which I don't even like selling or having in the shop. Was it 22s or shorter than 22s?
That was for her.
Yeah.
Did you use them? Because you said that you heard that short lines...
Did, but I didn't. I went back to my normal lines, and actually in the end, so I kind of have lines that I use speed sailing in like Portland,
Yeah.
they're shorter than my normal slalom lines.
Yeah.
And then in the end, out there, I went from the lines I bought a few that are tiny to my slalom to the Portland speed sailing lines, back to my slalom lines which are even longer.
Yeah.
So bizarrely.
Was anyone using lines 20 inches?
No.
No, in
Because I
speed
feel like you
sailing.
can.
The Dutch weren't there.
Yeah.
The Dutch do.
In speed sailing,
Hans Kreisel, I don't know what length lines he uses.
but it looks like they're hooked into the boom.
It looks like he's hooked into the boom. He's a very large man. He's a very strong man. And he has a very upright stance. And he's extraordinarily quick.
Because your lines you don't look that long there. You look like you're fairly upright. Your bum's not that low there.
I'm short
This is
there.
a quite light wind day as
Right.
well.
Light wind and it's early on. They're short
there.
there.
Yeah, and then they look fairly long.
No, that's the same day. I was
Your
there.
bum's again not that low, is it?
No, this is it. I'm very upright, but there's a chance that I'm upright because I'm not powered up enough.
Yeah.
But what I did do, I was going to use Jenna as an example then, but you're
Okay,
doing it
that's
as well
definitely-
there.
You're just light
that's-
wind because you're smiling.
That's
and
the short lines that I bought a few because I can tell
Yeah,
that
so
they're
look at-
orange.
So if you look how bent her front arm is,
You're so high up though. How can you keep the weight down if they're that short?
Yeah, I couldn't. I think I was much better with long lines in the
Yeah.
end, just going back to my slalom stance. I think I'd been practicing in Portland Harbour, kind of, I don't know, real world speed conditions.
Yeah.
I'd wanted them a bit shorter.
Yeah.
And then it got to that, and I think maybe where it's so windy or so broad, maybe, the longer lines kind of came back into there and helped get that sail more upright again.
Yeah.
I think it was bringing the sail over me when they were a bit
Trying
shorter.
to find more photos.
right, so my best 500 prior to going, my best 500 metres was 43.49
43. Okay.
at West Kirby.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Is that peak or average? Sorry.
No, that's my 500 metres.
Yeah.
With a peak of 47.31. And at Luderitz I had a peak of 50.35.
2.5.
Well, yeah, 2.5. I had a peak of 50.35,
Yeah.
2 second, and my 500 metres was 49.
49.
Yeah. Cool.
But then even like at Diaz, I still broke. So the first day we sailed in Namibia was at Diaz.
Yeah.
And I broke my previous record that first day when
Wow.
I was there.
Yeah.
I did, I think 43 or 44, 2 seconds there before going to the canal.
In the zone.
Just
The conditions.
At Diaz?
I haven't speed.
She's not been speed sailing.
That size board before and.
Yeah.
This is the
Conditions
thing.
like
So
that.
every single day for the first few days, Jenna. But the second day, no, because it wasn't as windy. I don't think it is really windy on this first day. So she broke her record on the PB on the first day, and the first day of the canal she broke that record. The next day on the canal it was a bit windier, so she broke that record. The next day on
Like
the canal it was
PBs,
really windy, so she broke the world record. The next day, it got boring. I've got to be honest.
I don't think there's ever a time in your life again that it'll be like, break your PB every day.
Yeah.
Every day for 10 days.
What was really cool about Diaz as well, because at West Kirby, I suppose you could go down together at West Kirby, but it was quite nice being able to go down the speed course together.
Yeah, it's nice.
We were doing like 45 knots.
Yeah, we've
in
got
that trip,
GoPro
probably.
footage. Like,
You've got
on
GoPro
board.
footage of it. Yeah, we literally,
We
you
went so
broke your
fast.
PB doing one of those runs with me.
Oh, it might be that one that we drive.
It could be, yeah, it could be that one.
Yeah.
Oh, have you got the drone footage?
Just looks like so much fun.
Oh, it was so
yeah,
good.
I am gutted we couldn't sail at Diaz more because it's just easy. You don't because you don't have the jump start sort of thing. You just beach start as normal, like there, and then obviously Jenna was waiting for me there. Then I've got going now.
Yeah.
Then you can just do a run together.
There's no way you could sail together down the canal. Right? It's like way too shallow. Like if anything happened, there'd be no way to avoid either person. So, we enjoyed sailing together, didn't we?
We do, yeah.
Just, yeah. What sail sizes were you using? 5.0?
I only used the 2 sails,
5.8?
5.8 and 5.0.
Yeah. Is similar?
Mostly use the 5.0, but yeah, a couple of light wind days. Like one light wind day at Diaz, and then a couple of really light wind days on the Canal. I used 5.8.
So previous to here, I would never have used my 5.8. Well, I didn't think. I kept getting told that the small sails were less drag, and again, being a bit of a novice at sort of speed, 5.8 is too much drag and stuff. But I was doing like 46 knot runs on my 500s on my 5.8. And I used it on the 45, which I've never previously done.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was, naively, I thought it was too big. And I used it on the 41 whiteboard as well. And it was great.
Yeah.
So that's, that's another thing of the many, many things that I learned out there. So that's really, really cool. But my top speeds were done on the 5.8.
What was Antoine on? He was on a 5.4.
When I was on a 5.8, he was on a 5.7, I think. Yeah. 5.7. And then he changed down to a 5.3.
When you were on a 5.0.
When I was on a 5.0, he was on a 5.3, yeah. And he also had a 4.9, which he never got to use. He wanted to use it.
4.9.
He had a 4.9, which, because again, it is right, smaller sails, less drag.
But it needs to be so windy when it's that broad. So you've got long lines there, that's really long lines.
So this is back towards the end, I would say now. She's gone back.
No, they're my sort of middle lines. They're not even my slalom lines at that point, so...
But you can see your body weight is just holding that down so much easier with longer lines.
Yeah.
And the sail's exhausting so well. Whereas before you were so upright and...
I think it kind of like pulled the sail on top of me, right?
So this is the bit of advice that this is the problem that I was having.
It's choppy there, isn't it?
I remained with short lines way too long.
With short lines?
Yeah, it left me...
like for me, like I didn't have much lead on actually in the end. I tried more.
This was short lines.
I don't know, it was just really windy, gusty, and
you can see the chop.
It's difficult to hold the sail down.
You can see that chop.
That's 5.0 sail, yeah. Like it's gusty, right? It pulls you out of shape. And not wearing that much lead.
Yeah.
I tried wearing lead and I couldn't start, and I was getting frustrated and was getting tired, wasn't getting many runs in. So I reduced the lead and got my leverage through long lines like I would for slalom rather than.
That corner's something
we've not
good. Yeah, that's something we've not spoken about.
It's pretty broad, that pull off, isn't it? Like the angle change is quite...
The acceleration round that corner is absolutely indescribable. You cannot imagine. It's like nothing. It's like being catapulted in control. it is. It's incredible. The amount of pull that you get as you go around that corner it's insane.
And that's why it slows down at the end, because you lose that it's not even momentum, is it? But it's the change of angle must do something to the sail, and then
you're getting the acceleration before the start on that corner, and you have about.
But it must burn out
100 metres before the camera.
100 metres.
100 metres from that corner, you've got about 100 metres to the camera. Of course, that 100 metres goes in like a second or two.
Yeah.
I mean, it might even be further than that.
Maybe it's very, very hard to judge. I don't know where the actual camera is in relation to this video.
No,
it's not yet. It's not yet. It's about. I'd say it's about now.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
But
you're
then,
like locked in. So that's long lines. You're really locked in there.
That's one of the windier parts of the course. Basically, that corner is windy. And then
But that's the start. So you're not actually being timed when you're coming up to that corner, are you? Because you're not.
No.
It's the start.
The timing's going to start any second from now. Basically, I'm not sure where it is.
I reckon it's past the cameraman.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you are gaining speed even at... Right.
I reckon the start's somewhere there. Where they are, I reckon.
Okay. But you get the acceleration... So I would have thought the start would be there. Somewhere.
No.
Because that would only be not even 10 seconds after you've beach started, So actually giving that time to...
Get comfortable.
Get locked in and
just
still accelerate. You can still accelerate there while you've still got the gust. The middle bit of the course is a little bit lighter just because of the valleys.
Yeah.
Where the wind's kind of getting concentrated as it goes each side of the.
So what we can't show you on here is like upwind. There is a bit of a valley and there's a mountain, So like Rafi was explaining it to us. You can kind of see the edge of it there, to be fair.
Yeah.
At the end of the course, the wind angle might be slightly different to the beginning because it's bent around the mountain.
Right.
And it's a bit stronger right at the end.
And at the end, you always seem to get this gust. I mean, there was a couple of times. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen Antoine Albeau's video of the apocalyptic day where he broke the world record last time in 2015 or whatever.
Yeah.
And we didn't get anything that he would probably call apocalyptic, but there were a few runs I had where, as you're getting towards the end, you see a gust, and you're not seeing it on the water because there's not enough water for you to be able to see the gust sort of thing. You see it a bit, but what you do see is the sand flying.
Into your eyes.
And you're sailing down the course towards like sand that's like, I'm not talking hovering like a foot above the water, it's like sand that's like 3 metres above the water. And it's, I think it's fucking apocalyptic, yeah. So yeah. And it's a slightly different angle. So you can kind of see there actually, in that run. The wind picks up, like at the right
you can
there,
see a gust
there, yeah. And the end of the course, that's the camera at the end there, by those flags.
That's the end of the course? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you've gone around the corner. This is on the,
This is the finish, yeah.
Oh, you've gone down the...
So in that bit there at the start of that clip, it's, it's quite, not light, but in comparison it's light. And there, it's getting windy again.
Yeah.
Honky tonk, as the big man O'Shea would say.
Fins you're using, obviously F-Hot fins are here. They're made in the UK by Steve Cook, is that his name?
Steve Cook, yeah.
Yeah. You use them for slalom as well.
Yeah.
What's special about these? You got a load made for the trip?
Absolutely, yeah.
Can I touch them?
Yep.
So these are asymmetric fins.
I have to cut myself.
Which means the shape is different on both sides.
Yeah.
The downwind edge is flatter.
Yeah.
And you've got more.
It's concaved on the, yeah.
They are very sharp actually.
they were sharp for a few weeks ago.
And sandblasted.
So we didn't know what sizes we needed, so we got like every ½ centimetre like increments.
Yeah.
Once we found the sizes that we needed, we ended up just kind of sticking to those, and actually we could have done with a few spares of those sizes, but we just didn't know beforehand what those would be. And
we only had, we have 120.
We were fighting over the 19.5 and the 20, weren't we?
We were like.
What size of increments did you have? ½ centimetre? Wow.
Yeah.
So it's very sensitive.
18.5 up to 21.
We already had 21s, both of us, from like the Speed World Cup in the Palm this year. But then we got a 20, a 19.5, 19. 18.5.
Yeah.
So I I haven't needed anything smaller than a 19.5 really. I mean, I've been advised to go down to a 19, but
I was using it.
she was using it.
And what's the difference between these and what other people are using? What's Antoine using? I don't know why I keep referencing him, but I guess it's because he's the fastest in the world.
He's got the world record, probably. So a lot of people say that there are certain brands that they say you need to have. Like the original record-breaking fin was a gas oil.
Mm-hmm. That's what Crossley used, or did use?
Crossley uses a mixture. He uses F-Hots. He also uses.
Gas oil. I remember they were a big name a few years ago.
Yeah. There's lots of good fins around for speed. There's like the gas oil, the Z,
and some brands that you've not really heard of. And
what is it that Antoine's using? UFO.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's UFO.
And that's all they do, make just speed fins?
I don't actually know, mate.
Or is it just some random guy that makes cars?
I don't know, but they're making fins with Antoine.
Yeah.
He's telling them what to make, asking them what, giving them advice and stuff, and clearly they're making some
good fins.
Pretty good fins.
Yeah.
But who's to say that he wouldn't have gone quicker if he hadn't been on with F-Hot?
We tried a few, didn't we? We've tried all sorts of things,
100%, because when we went out there, we needed to. We already had some other fins. We bought some fins off there, like second-hand fins off people to try and stuff. We tried the gas oil. We tried the Z.
Yeah.
And in England, I think I'd possibly prefer. I got my fastest speed possibly on a gas oil, but in England. But as soon as I got out there and I tried these fins that Steve made us. I stopped using the other fins.
Yeah.
And because
These are all production. He makes these, and you can buy these. And
no, they're ours, and no one else can have them. Yeah.
Because I know he's very well known for his slalom fins.
Yeah.
He's very well known for his slalom fins. These fins, I mean, if you look at all those top fins that I've just mentioned, if you to the I don't know the average person, you look at them, they look very similar. There's lots of them are a very similar profile. They've got a very similar rake on them. They do have different profile, like different cord, different shapes of foil, basically.
It's so small, isn't it?
It's so small. Small things make big differences, though. I mean,
yeah. Is it, you think so? My experience with slalom, the fin made the biggest difference. It was the biggest difference I actually made. It made my
the fin's definitely crucial
in speed. It's the only thing that's underwater, isn't it? It causes the drag. So
yeah, we're really, really lucky with Steve because he's basically he's a perfectionist. He is.
Finishes off the fins.
Yeah, they're all finished beautifully. He won't send one out unless it's done perfectly.
Yeah.
And, like over the moon with how well they've worked.
Yeah.
Really, really chuffed.
it's cool. They're made in England, isn't it? Like yeah.
Yep, they're all made in Essex.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, they carried the speed over the 500 like so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed when I'd gone a different fin, the lulls would just seem so much
Yeah.
like to hit you so much harder. Like, whereas that I just kept the fin pressure stayed on through the lulls.
It's the fin gives you confidence as well. Like I don't know about you, but I didn't spin out a single time.
Yeah, that's really
Not
important when
once.
you're going that fast.
I didn't spin out with any of the fins, to be fair. But like with Steve's fins, I had like this extra bit of confidence.
Yeah.
Certainly once I because I tried all the fins, but I ended up for the last few windy days all I used was the F1.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jenna and
Yeah. And that's unfortunately why they're so damaged now.
So yeah, we talked about pretty much everything I think that I had written down. If there's anything that you guys, I guess the only thing I was going to say is what's next really. I guess, yeah, what is the next thing really? Are you going to go back? Do you want to go faster?
We definitely want to go faster. We've
It's
both got this
difficult.
burning fire inside.
It's difficult when you're in a relationship with someone that can break world records at will. It's quite hard.
At will.
I went out there with 2 goals, and the goals I wanted to get a 50 something on the screen of my GPS.
Yeah.
And I got a 50 100 meters.
Yeah.
I got 50.35 2 seconds. So for me that's smashing one of the things. And the other is I wanted to get a 48 knot 500. Well, really I wanted to get a 50 knot 500, but I had to get a 48 knot 500. Yeah. And I got a 49, so I did achieve my goals. But like Jenna said, that's no longer enough.
So addictive.
It will never be enough.
Well, I haven't done a 50 knot 500, so some people would say I can't say I'm a member of the 50 knot club. That's quite painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need that. I have to do that. Yeah.
And how do you think you're going to do that? And do you think Luderitz is the only place you can do it?
For now.
What are you thinking? You're obviously replaying the runs in your head and thinking about things that you can do to make it better.
I did the last run on the thing on the course.
Yeah.
On the last day, the wind was so there was. We haven't really actually mentioned this. Every day, doesn't matter what the forecast is. There was an optimum half an hour to an hour, maybe it could be 15 minutes to an hour, where it was it was good for average speed sailing. You just bang out the 46 knots stuff. You're doing really what would be anywhere else in the world, really fast runs. But it's just kind of average there, and sometimes Antoine's not even getting on the water. Gunner's not. They're sitting there waiting. They're saving for this little magical half an hour maybe. And then sometimes it's at 2 or 3 o'clock. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
1 o'clock. 12.
And all of a sudden it just gets windier, and the start box goes a little bit more white horses, a bit whiter, and
the stones start flying.
instead of sand going and blasting you, you're getting little stones. You hear it. Instead of
on your sail,
on the sails and the boards, they're sat on the beach. And all of a sudden, instead of there being the pitter patter of sand, there's these little stones are hitting everything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that's you don't know how long that's going to last. It might last for 10 minutes. It might last for an hour.
Yeah.
And that is when you get the magical top speeds.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm going to do my 50 knot 500.
And does it need to be this time of year when they do it? Is it a seasonal wind, or could they do the event more if they had the money and timing?
I think it is a seasonal wind. That they were saying that it's kind of that's good period of wind has kind of actually got later and later. When they first did Luderitz Speed Challenge, it was like beginning of October, and now it's like starts in middle of November, just because that kind of wind pattern has been changing. So yeah, it definitely is seasonal. And you have to do a record. It has to be done at the event, with all the official timing and stuff. Oh yeah,
because you get a GPS result and.
Exactly. Yeah.
So at the event, you wear an event GPS, not just your own watch sort of thing. You do wear your own watch, but you get given a GPS by Manfred, the timekeeper. I believe it's his own GPS. And that gives you, so when you're watching the live scores on the Luderitz Speed Challenge, all those scores come from this GPS unit. And we see them, the GPS unit tells us our max speed, the fastest run, the second fastest run.
Yeah.
But that's not the official timing, that just lets him know when to look at the video timings. Of when to look for those fastest runs.
So he doesn't go home at night and look at like
all of them,
100 runs on the video, because he has to actually do a physical calculation using the video footage. So he just looks at it and goes, "Oh look, Jenna did a 48 knot run there.
That's worth looking at.
That's the one that I've got to measure." Yeah. And there's no point measuring all the runs. He's only measuring runs that are going to be national records or world records.
Yeah.
So he's measured like about frickin' 6 or 7 of Jenna's runs, and none of mine. Oh, no, actually, he has done my runs as well. Yeah. If you do a PB, actually, so that they make it fair. If you do a PB, doesn't matter who you are, they also check your run on for that as well.
Yeah. Can anyone go to the event, or do you have to be invited?
No.
Anyone can enter and pay and go.
Yeah.
Even if you can't get down the trench.
Yeah.
Anyone can go.
You got to prove that you can go down a narrow gap.
No, but it's a big commitment, right? It's a long way to go, and it's an expensive event. So you wouldn't.
You've got to be prepared to trash some kit, basically, because
it would be dangerous. It would be dangerous if you didn't.
Your trash fins, it's not. The environment's not. It's quite harsh with the sand blowing in on the sails. It's pretty difficult.
Yeah. So how will we go faster? Don't think we answered it.
How will we go faster? Well, I already know that I was making some errors due to
stance.
It's almost trying too hard. I changed too much. Next time I go, I will not be shortening my lines so much. I'll put them roughly where they were. I don't think I'll learn my beam so much either, which is another thing I kept getting told, because it just made my stance different to how it normally is.
Yeah.
I had a very bent front arm. I was closing the sail off round the corner, and so that's the
closing the sail off, so overshooting.
No, the other way, like
the front.
I think I was not letting the sail open enough. I've got a few shoulder injuries, which is partly to blame, but I was finding at the end that I was come here, you. At the end, I was like Jenna was helping me, and so it was like telling me to relax. She said, "You look like you're tensed up," sort of thing. And I was having to go down the course, like literally making myself relax and push the sail out and push myself out. Yeah. As opposed to this sort of.
I guess with more runs down the canal, you just get more comfortable.
More used to it.
Wouldn't get that defensive stance.
Yeah, the first few runs, once you've done the run, it's like, oh, that was easy. But when you first get there and you step on, every day was. For me, it was every day. It was particularly when it was super windy. It was like, bit scary, definitely.
How do you think you'll go faster, Jenna?
I think kit tuning for me will be the biggest thing, because it was there was so much getting used to the channel and the angle and all that, and there's so many things you can tune and change, right? So I didn't get enough opportunities to test all the stuff. Yeah. All the settings you could have had, because again it was I'd been trying to practice my speed sailing at Portland Harbour, which is a flat water slalom spot. It's not really a speed spot, and so actually my preparation that I did there kind of didn't carry over in the same way. So
conditions are different, and
just not that. Just time on the water, just over and over and over, just changing and tuning and seeing what fins you needed, and I kind of ruined my fins on the first day, and then after that, you're sailing with, sanded fins, and you've got to be like so look into everything, right? So next time more weight, more lead, be a bit fitter to carry more lead, and those jump starts. Yeah, there's literally so many areas to.
Practicing the jump start, like I already kind of did do jump starts.
Yeah.
Literally, not for the same reason, not because I had to do them, just because
They're fun.
they're kind of fun, they look quite cool, sort of thing. I didn't, until Luderitz, there's never been a need for me to actually do a jump start. It just kind of looks good when you can jump off the beach and land on the board planing. But at Luderitz, you have to be able to do it. And to be fair, before Luderitz, I couldn't really do them on starboard tack. I could do them on port tack.
Yeah.
At Luderitz, sometimes it was great. It's such a nice feeling when you jump on the board and like literally as you land on the board,
it's planing.
It's planing. Like it's a weird sensation to be like, shit, I'm planing already. Like how that, But it's definitely helpful.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know the last time I went to an event and used a brand new sail. Like both of our sails, like all of our sails, were brand new. We never ever used them. And that's fine. The duotones come pre-tuned, and that does work for quite a long way. But this is a different. This is a different thing.
And they're pre-tuned for slalom, right?
Yes.
As well. So there was like tweaks that we're slowly making that was like helping with that, like improvements day on day. But it's only that fraction of a knot every day. So if we could have come in with those settings already in, then we could have started from there and then built up. So
we put a lot more downhaul on the sails for this event than we would put for a slalom.
Yeah.
And that was a learning curve as well. First of all, I rigged the sail up as I would rig the sail up, and it was right.
Yeah.
For a slalom event.
And all the speed sailors are like, no, add
two
holes on the extension,
Literally.
Too much lift and then couldn't bear it.
Not enough twists, sort of thing. The sail's not releasing enough. Literally all the sails, they don't look. None of them. None of the brands. They don't look nice lying on the beach. They're all downhaul to hell.
Yeah.
And then like massive negative outhaul as well.
Yeah. To give you belly.
Yeah, so they don't look nice. The clew's all bent up on the beach.
You could just see that, in the corner.
Yeah, it's all bent up. But then obviously once the sail powers up and the mast flexes, all that tightens up.
Yeah. Trying to see an angle. Cool, but it's very positive that you're both confident you can go faster. That's pretty cool to come back from there and having broken the record. You still think there's more room?
There's more room. The thing with like speed sailing, right, is like those fractions of a knot. They can be hard to achieve. Like you can get so stuck in, just in slalom. Like you can be like so stuck in, you try a million different things and actually those speeds don't creep up. So it will definitely like plateau. We've got all these ideas of what would help, but how much each of them help, we'll see. But you can only try everything.
Yeah, luck with the wind as well.
This is true. I think we did have amazing conditions.
Yeah,
we were very lucky with the conditions. I feel. Another thing is so when the wind was like light to medium, like 30, 35 knots, I was still behind like the top guys sort of thing, but when the wind picked up more, they went quicker and I didn't. I still stayed at like 47, 48 knots sort of thing. So there's a problem there. I'm not, with more wind I should go quicker. So that's another thing that I've got to... So I know I can go quicker.
Yeah.
Actually, from that one fact. If they were doing like 48s, 49s, and I was doing 46s, 47s, then all of a sudden they went up to 51, 52. And don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting to go up to the same levels as Antoine or Gunnar sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I should have stepped up some.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Yeah.
So there's a problem to be sorted out.
Something's holding you back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's next? What's the next event? Is it quiet now till?
Yeah, quiet for the winter.
Is it PWA next or?
No, I think the first event for us will actually be the Speed World Championships in south of France.
Prince of Speed.
When's that?
April. So 2 months off.
The next event's a speed event.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, thanks. Looks like you had an amazing trip, and well done for obviously breaking the record.
The trip was amazing. Like, we had a really, really good time.
Yeah.
The guys on the canal, Rafi, the organiser, he's in charge of digging it out and stuff. He did an amazing job. Yeah, it was great. Everyone was, another thing we haven't touched on, like the event, everyone's fighting themselves. It's not like a slalom event where you're fighting each other. And at slalom events, everyone's very nice off the water, mostly. But on the water, it can be quite, high pressure, and can be a bit aggressive sometimes, sort of thing. This event is totally different. Everyone's wanting to beat their own times.
Yeah.
Everyone was really helpful. Everybody.
Helping us like tune for slalom.
Yeah, like
for speed.
Gunnar Rasmussen, he re-rigged myself for me basically. He literally walked past me and he's like, more downhill. More downhill. The machine, like basically, yeah, he, honest to God, like I put on about another 2 inches of downhill due to him, and it made me go quicker.
Yeah.
Antoine helped Jenna loads. It was really nice. Everyone was really, really helpful, and it was cool. And when you did a fast time, even if it was just me breaking my PB, you get up, you come back up on the trainer, everyone flipping claps and gives you a cheer. It's when you break a world record, like everyone's so happy for you. It's just a really, really fun event.
Yeah,
Nice.
Cool. Well, we don't just do windsurfing just for windsurfing. I think I've always talked about windsurfing being about doing these trips and like meeting people and learning off each other. Really, and it is an individual sport. Really, you are doing it.
Yeah.
What did someone say last night? I'm going to give up windsurfing when I'm good at it, and like, you're never there, so you never give up. So, yeah, it's cool. And it's just amazing, like we said, that someone's actually gone to the effort to get this. Lots of people would want this to be built, and someone's actually done it, and it's quite a big thing, isn't it? For a niche sport like windsurfing it's great that someone's gone to the effort, and it's amazing that you guys have done it, and you broke the record, which I know, talking about it beforehand, it's great.
Yeah. No, it's crazy going, because going out there, it was like, well, it's definitely an attempt at the world record, but like even that was difficult to say, right? Because you don't know.
Difficult for her to say. I think a lot of people. I certainly knew that she'd break the world record. 100%.
Oh well, done it.
Done.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys. It's quite long. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Cool. Thanks
Thank you very much for all your support, Sam.
No worries. It's good
And
fun.
you, Peggy. High five. Useless.
Oh, she almost did it.
High five. Peggy. Maisie. High five. Maisie. High five.